Welcome, everybody. Welcome to year two of the Strong Perspective Podcast. This is first episode of year two. This is special to the three of us, and we're here to have this conversation and just to talk about what we've been through, our experiences in the last year, and also what we're looking forward to. Do me a favor. We're trying to build up our numbers on YouTube. Um, Go ahead and go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Hook us up. We got great content. And go ahead and talk to us about it. All right, my brothers. Damon, Jaquari, how you doing? I'm Keith Armstrong, one of your hosts. I'm here with my brothers Damon and Jaquari Armstrong. Welcome
Oh,
to our situation.
hello
Damon, how you
everybody.
doing today, brother?
Man, I'm in a
Damon,
good place, man. You know what I'm saying? I try to wake up with a positive attitude every morning, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's all good. I'm continuing on that pace, man. So that's a blessing, man. No negative thoughts whatsoever.
okay. Jaquari, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Trying to figure things out, man. Trying to, get to that next level. I had a pretty good day. No issues. Work went pretty good, which is which has been work's been going pretty good. Lately, man. Not a lot of issues. I had a lot of time. Got a lot of time to get things done. So that's different for me. So trying to create like my brother Damon, man. Trying to create some positive pathways, man. That's all.
Positive pathways. See, that's what's up, man. Because I tell you, um, it was funny. I was talking to you guys over the holiday and realized, man, we've been doing this thing for a year. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Every Friday for a complete year. I've had a great time. I hope you guys have. You know what I mean? We had great guests. Really and truly, maybe you know, I might. I'm sitting here thinking about some of the people who impacted me the most. But we talked about that in the last podcast, but we can talk about it a little bit more on this one. Um, what I really want to do is concentrate today's episode on, because we talked about it last night, and it really wasn't a real assignment, but I invited the three of us to pick something that we individually would like to address. You know what I mean? And the three of us just chop it up. Um, Damon,
Look,
do you have your subject?
no, what we were talking about last night, man. I just, my daughter, your y'all's niece, man, graduated, and last weekend she moved into a new apartment, man. And what I was talking about last night is that simplifying life, man. Looking at things, in a simple manner. Me and her would sit on the couch after we got her moved in. We cleaned up the old apartment, man. Shampoo, made sure it was like, she get her deposit back and all that stuff. And then we moved into a new apartment. And as we were sitting there talking, she sat and she laid on her dad, man. You know what I'm saying? And I felt that release. And I was like, wow, At that moment, man, when she relaxed and was like, just wanted to be with her dad, I realized, man, that this woman had been through a year and a half, man, of real stringent, intense academics and working a job too and other things that she had to do. So she never had a moment, man, to rest. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that she wasn't at peace over this last year and a half, but I could tell, man, that she set out a goal for herself because she was in that accelerated master's program. She could have went 2 years, but she cut it. You know what I'm saying? Cut it down to a year and a half, and she was working and grinding and doing what she had to do and whatever. And in that moment, sitting there on the couch with her, man, she was at peace, and I recognized it. You know, and I had thought to myself, I said, I thought about it the whole night. And I was like, man, it was like she was 5 years old again. You know what I'm saying? When you watch this woman take care of business, you know what I'm saying? And then when all the business is said and done, she lay back and relax and allow herself some peace and calm. And I was able to be a part of that, man. And I recognized it. And is that something, man, that we ignore in our life, man? You know what I'm saying? Is that something that we ignore when you are in somebody's presence and they comfortable in your presence and they give you some type of peace or whatever? You know what I'm saying? My point is that's
Was
something. What?
was there a moment with did you have that moment did you have that moment with Danita?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I was able to recognize it this time because I realized what she was doing. She just wanted to be with her dad, man. After all the business was taken care of. Danita was the same way. Matter of fact, me and Danita, when she had graduated, we were driving. I was driving her home from Mount Pleasant, from Central Michigan, and she was the same way. You know, but it was more. I recognized it more with Morgan because you know what I'm saying. I literally felt her relax. You know. Now you can try to interpret that however you want, but as a dad, I know what it meant. You know, and I felt that so internally in my heart, man. I was like, wow, you have this understanding with your kids, man, where you're watching them grind and you're proud of that grind, but you don't recognize when they need you. I mean, you support them in that grind. You support them the best way you can, however you can. But they also need you when everything is said and done. You know what I'm saying? And they can lay on you and be like, hey man, I'm good. Like this, can we just lay here for a minute? You know what I'm saying? Especially with girls, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different animal, man, when it comes to girls because they want that connection. They want that safety. They want that confirmation. You know what I'm saying? But they also want to be innocent in it. I just want dad to just sit here so I can be with him for a minute. I can tell her how proud I am. She wasn't trying to hear that. She was like, man, just sit down, man, and relax for a minute, man. I'm cool. I'll get up in a minute, but I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And my whole point is, man, I appreciated that moment. That meant the world to me, man. It meant the world to me because the only thing that mattered in that particular point in time was her being with her dad. And that took me through her whole life. When she was a baby, to the point where she's a grown woman right now. And I appreciate every step of the way because she worked hard and she grind. Some things your kids keep from you. But in that moment, you know what I'm saying? In that moment, it was, this is cool. I'm with my dad right now. And I'm proud of my accomplishments. And and I'm glad he's here with me. It's what I took from it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, let me just say that's beautifully said, also, brother. Let me just tell you that. So I want to ask you both something because see, here's my thing. Growing up in our household as kids, it was the three of us, our dad and our mom, right? It's all male except for our mother. But our mother had an alpha personality, a strong personality. Was it easy for, and this is for the both of you, because you have daughters, how easy was it for you to transition from the male way of thinking? Because you got to think about when we grew up, the way we grew up, even though our parents loved us, our mother, because I'd say the three of us, we were mama's boys, right? But it was heavy handed with tough love because we were men, we were males who had to go forth and make our own families. And this is how they taught us, this is how they raised us. How difficult was it when you found yourself as fathers of young women? We start with you, Jaquan.
It wasn't difficult for me at all. I mean, as I said, you know, I don't know how many shows back, as far as parenting by societal standards, man. I dropped the ball many times, man, because I tried to project those, some of those ways that we were raised with. I tried to project that on her. I mean, but I learned early that it all depends on personalities. I mean, why didn't any of the three of us end up in the streets? Running in the and well, extensively running in the street. You know, why did if we were, why did we make a decision to to start doing something else? You know, I realized early, man, that it wasn't a blueprint. And I had to be honest with her. I had to be very, very honest with her, and and tell her things. You know, like cut to the bone and tell her things. Especially about the things that I thought was important. As far as development goes. And I think that honestly, like, it helped free up communications to where we could real talk about anything. You know, it's things that I still I still really think never never like came to fruition, or never got resolved. Yeah, I mean, but I think those things were just as big a part of our emotional development. It was just as big a part as anything else. The things that went wrong, the things that didn't happen. So it wasn't easy. Definitely wasn't easy.
Okay. Damon?
For me, man, because I got two girls, man, and the oldest, neither was, I wouldn't say was easy, but you know what I'm saying, it was different. You put it that way. But as they gotten older, man, you know what I'm saying, I had to make my transition happen, man, when they became teenagers. Because they was dealing with a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? And they was trying to figure out, because they knew what type of man I was. You know what I'm saying? They understood what type of man I was. So when they were interacting with me, man, it was all about trying to come to a compromise, for lack of a better word. And the compromise wasn't a bad thing, but they understood what type of man I was, but they wanted to get me to understand their point of view. You know what I'm saying? when it comes to your sons, man, you talk about your experience and how you handled it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to girls, it's totally different, man. It's like, why you keep talking about you, Dad? That ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about me. Why are you talking about you? They recognize that there's a difference between a young man and a woman. You know what I'm saying? The experiences are different. So they came at me with the aspect of I'm coming into my womanhood, and you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to share information with you. You need to be understanding with that, and then incorporate your experience with it as a man. You know what I'm saying? So I had to try to figure out how to balance that, and it took several times, man. They was like, he'll give you that stare and be like, "Why are we talking about you, man? I'm talking about me." You know, and I think the difference is you teach your sons, man, how to take on the world, man. You know what I'm saying? The best way you can as a man. But when it comes to the girls, it's about okay, but you have to understand that it's different. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to recognize it and make the balance. And here's the thing: it's not complicated. You just have to deal with the individual person. Man. If you know your kids, you claim to know your kids, they recognize when you full of shit. You know what I'm saying? And you just playing a role. Especially girls, they recognize that. You have to be personal. You have to talk about what it is that you know and understand about them, and offer suggestions, not give suggestions, but offer suggestions. You know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna make their mind up what they're gonna do with it. But at the end of the day, if they're dealing with men, they're gonna make their decisions based on how strong you are as a father and as a man. But as a father and a man, you have to be understanding too. You have to have empathy. You have to have understanding. You have to have the ear to listen because they tell you exactly what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? As men, man, we so quick to be like, that young brother did what? Oh, I got to go see him. No, Dad, you don't. I'll put him in check. But I just want to make sure I made the right decision when I put that brother in check. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balance. It's the point that I'm making.
Okay. Well, let me throw my hat in the ring when it comes to this. Um, I got two boys. I got two sons. So basically, this is how I feel. This is why I needed to ask you guys, what the transition was because I know you. I know both of you guys. So we pretty much know what bothers us. Growing up together, we know what bothers each other and what don't. Well, you got a son, Damon. I got two boys. So the thing that I discovered was the simple fact that God blessed me with two boys, not because they're boys, but because how I would be as a father if I had girls. The thing that I understood is I am overprotective by nature. I'm overprotective when it comes to my boys. So me being the kind of person who's straightforward, who speak in straight language, so you understand where I'm coming from. That's how I talk to my boys. Now they can disagree, they can call me an ogre, they can call me whatever they want, right? But when they go out into this world, they've heard me say everything that they will encounter because not because I was their father, not because I wanted to be their friend, not because I wanted to be their hero. for the simple fact that I knew that I owed them one thing is to give them a foundation on who they are as human beings. My oldest son, he looks like me, but we're not exact. He thinks we're on the opposite plane of each other, and we're not. It's just a simple fact that he understand. He don't quite understand that I gave him my blessing to make his own decision, which was given to me by one of the strongest men I ever met in my life, not the strongest. I gave him permission to make a decision to defy me. If he don't like what I am giving him, I gave him an option. Either you take my advice or you don't. But understand, before you became of age, I made every decision for you. But after you became of age, I became your advisor to advise you, doing the same thing with my youngest son. But the key thing that I concentrate on is building their self worth, who they are as individuals. The mistake that I think that people make is they think your self worth is tied to the majority, but really is individualized. You have to think a lot of yourself, realistically now, but you have to think a lot of yourself to be able to move throughout, to create, to build a family. I would think that would be a horrible father to girls because I would be overprotective, overprotective, overprotective. And that would override any logic that I would ever have. And it's funny. Now, I wouldn't be no crazy dude, nothing like that. But I know that my overprotectiveness would override sometimes its logic, right? And I'm gonna address this. Raising boys, you have to put your ego aside. You got to have a firm hand. They have to understand that you are that guy for a reason, but they also have to understand that you're there for them and everything that you offer them is not to criticize them, but to build them up, to build them up. That's all I had. And to keep it real, keep it a buck, that's all I received because our Father gave me that. He gave me that because there's no, the three of us, I know we agree on this one thing. There is no blueprint. Somebody said it earlier. There's no blueprint to this shit. It is fucked up. The trial and error that we live in. We live in trial and error. And hopefully we don't do no dumb shit that we cannot repair the damage to our loved ones. Talking about verbal damage to our loved ones. Hopefully we don't do that. But it's trial and error. You know, I never, the first thing, the one thing that I understood was I don't know every fucking thing, man. I don't know everything. When I realized that, the world opened up to me. God opened up the world to me. When I humbled myself and said, bro, even though you think you smart, you not. Not when it comes to the ways of the world. You might be in your little corner. This is my corner right here. You see this big ass chair that I sit in? The people who don't know, I'm 6'9". And this shit barely fits who my frame. This the only thing I got control of until this shit get old and it fall apart on my dumb ass. You understand what I'm saying?
And then maybe you might be able to buy a new one, huh?
Yeah, and then you know what? Then I gotta break it in. You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta break that in. But my point is, and I think we always doing this, is trial and error. The trial and error is love and a lot of understanding on everybody's part. You know what I mean?
I'm slightly different, man. Here's how. There's some things, man. There was some ways that I conducted myself that I thought I knew and all that stuff, and I came to the conclusion that it wasn't the smartest thing or whatever. And as I watched my kids go through their maturation processes and all that stuff, I had to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I say, okay, do I be judgmental and be stern and hard on them, even though I did the same shit? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or do I allow them, or do I allow them with guidance, general guidance or whatever, do I allow them to make their decision to say that's not for me?
I got you.
Me them is not going to convince them.
I
Them,
respect that.
me pointing out to them, hey man, how did that work out for you? Not in judgment, but how did that work out? Talk
Hot,
to me about it.
hot bullets burn, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
But I can't lead with that shit because that's what they expecting, man.
Yeah.
Okay, here come dad with that same old whatever. I can't lead with that. I had to learn how to lead different.
I, you know what? Just the and I feel that because that's some good shit that you're talking, right? That's really good information, right? But me, I'm like, look, if I give you this, now I'm saying this to you, I'm just offering advice to my kids. I am giving you this not so you can prevent it because you got to live your life. It's no perfect way to do this thing. But please understand that you listened enough that a red flag will come up and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is kind of familiar. Where did I
But
hear this before?
but here's the thing, Keith. Here's the thing. I'm speaking in terms of our, us growing up together. You was that guy who got it the first and second time.
Second
I
time, yeah.
I was that guy who was working on his seventh, eighth, ninth time, bro.
But
You
see,
understand what I'm saying?
that's
So
the whole. But not. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's my point. I get it. Everybody got their own path
no.
that they following. So what I said earlier was, yo, you what you were doing was absolutely correct. For me, it's not my style. I'm like, yo, hold on. I'm giving you comfort. I'm giving this to you. And I'm also giving you this advice with this comfort. At least if I say, hey man, even though you made the mistake that I told you not to make, at least tell me that I said it to you. You feel me?
Here's what's crazy, man. People always talk about my kids and the things they've done and all this stuff, right? Their accomplishments and all that. And people ask me, man, how did you do it? I have no idea, man. I was just consistent with our relationships. You know what I'm saying? I was just consistent with it. You know what I'm saying? And I might, and I was in that position where I literally offered suggestions. You know what I'm saying? And those suggestions that I offered, those are the things that resonated, man. That's what resonated. It wasn't me saying, "Well, look." When I started talking about, well, if there were situations, man, that were familiar to me, things that I went through, the first thing that came out of their mouth is, "But I'm not you."
But you want to know something though? Good point. But you want to know something crazy? Is I was that guy when my mother, when our mother and our father said, "Yo, you stick your hand in that flame, Keith, it's gonna burn you." Guess what I didn't do? So it took me some
I
time
know
to
what you
like,
did. I know what you did.
what I
You was
do.
like, "Fluke, weren't you listening, man?"
But that's my point. But
And I was
see,
like, "Yeah, but."
but I never wrote you off though, and I never write my sons off or people who need me if they if they count on my counsel or my advice. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's what people do. People like, yo, I said it once, and then their ego becomes involved, and then they write the people off. And I mean, it's down the line that they write the people off. But the point is, understand our job is not to, maybe more for our kids, but our job is not to change a situation, but to offer options in that situation.
Well, you know what, man?
Uh,
You come to the understand. I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but you come to the understanding that your kids gonna get their head bumped. That's just life, man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But when you think about it, in retrospectively, man, if you think about it, it's like, damn, how many times you get your head bumped until you understood and you got it. You know
but
what I'm
that,
saying?
that, but that's
People
my
have
point.
people have to go. We
Hey, man.
probably saying the same things, but
But
The,
go
bo-
ahead,
the,
Jaquan.
bo- the bottom line is, man, just be glad that you're both in a position, man, to where they come to you. You can
Well, you know
talk
what?
all you want about you can talk all you want about parenting technique, or what the correct thing to say about them is and everything. I get that. I dig it. I understand that. But just understand that it could be different.
And you know what? You know what's so
It could be a
funny about
lot
it? Just
different.
to comment on that, and I want you to do it also, Fluke. Bro, my oldest, we was talking about it before we came on. My oldest son don't come to me for anything. I am the fireman. I put out fires. That's what I do.
Thank God for that opportunity.
And that's true. And I feel that. What about you, Damon? And when
for
you're
me,
done,
man,
hold on. When you're done, I want to address Terry. And what's up, Eric? I see you, brother. But go ahead, Damon.
life is about putting out fires, man. I mean, because when you're young, man, you think you know and all that stuff, but providing an opportunity, providing that space to say, you know what, it's okay. You made a mistake. That's all right, man. Hell, I made mistakes. But what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying to overcome those mistakes? What did you learn from it? You know what I'm saying? And get them to speak the words.
That's
Get them to
real.
speak the words, because that's something that you can hold on to. Well, you told me so and such and such. How did that make you feel? What was your experience in that situation? Because some things they might be like, it ain't no big deal. You know what I'm saying? You might feel it's a big deal, but for them, it ain't no big deal. You feel what I'm saying? So
Because
you have to come to that understanding, man, that it ain't that deep for them.
because we are the safety net, my guy.
Yeah, but it's not about manipulation and all that. It's about
Oh,
getting them to understand.
of
It's
course not.
about getting them to understand themselves. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't.
And
I
how do you feel about that? What does that mean?
well,
I'm not implying that's what you're saying, Q. I'm just saying in
no,
general.
no, I get that. I get that. I was just chiming in on it, but go ahead, finish up,
You know what
man.
I'm saying? You know you basically say, ah, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And then especially with girls, then you identify with what they feeling. You identify with it. Okay, I see that. You know what I'm saying? And then moving forward, it's about getting them to understand, okay, you didn't like that situation. You know what I'm saying? You didn't like how it made you feel. What are the things that you're going to change? You know what I'm saying? Not giving them the information, but getting them to tell you, yeah, you right, Dad. You know what I'm saying? When you hear that, yeah, you right, Dad. And understanding that you didn't force the issue, but they came up with the answer themselves, I think that's pivotal. I think that's key.
Gotcha. That's real, because that's how we raise them anyway. But let me just read this from Terry. She says, and it's on your screen. As long as we don't muddy the waters, it's our responsibility to offer guidance to our children, allowing them to fail and succeed, but not to the point that they think we are a peer in their or that their own detriment. I laugh because me and my wife Kia, we go through that when with my boys. I used to tell her all the time. I said, "Listen, you want them to love you unconditionally. They already do. You're their mother. This is them growing up. You're their mother, but do not be their friends from year one to year 18. Be their mother. Require me and your sister-in-law. We went back and forth about this for years, and she was like, and I finally told her why. I said, listen, first and foremost, he has to, and I'm talking about our oldest son, Keith, he has to see you as his mother completely right now. If he see you as his friend slash mother, when he start those hormones start to kick in and he starts smelling himself and he start feeling the world and he start to go out, he's going to talk back to you and you're not going to like it. And I damn sure ain't going to like it. And I'm going to be ready to fight my son. I told her this constantly, right? You don't know what you talking about, because both my sons is mama's boys, right? But they daddy's boys at the same time. But they mama's boy majority wise. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
when Keith was 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, now all of a sudden that testosterone, that mom, mom, she ready to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
She ready to kill him. And then instead of me saying, I told you so, I pulled Keith to the side. Don't you ever let me hear you talk to your mother that way again. Because if you talk to your mother that way again, you're disrespecting me. I had to tell him that. So he understood that no matter what was going on with him and his mother palling around, which is, hey, people out there, nothing wrong with it. So I don't want no misunderstanding. But you gotta be a mother and father first in those early years. You gotta be, because it is important, because they need to understand that the information that you're giving them is not optional. They make the choice, not to follow it, but it's not optional.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Let me push back on you for a minute, man. If you're raising your kids to be strong in their conviction, man, as men and women, and they have their convictions, man, and they believe in themselves, right or wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? How do you approach that situation? Do you say you're wrong and this is that? That takes away that confidence that they have within themselves, man, to be able to press forward with their conviction. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, well, let me answer that.
So,
Let me answer.
so how do y'all address that, man? Showing them that maybe you need to think another way,
It's,
even though you're strong in your convictions.
well, all right, go ahead, Jaquar, because you was about to say something.
It could be done. I mean, but I think where the whole world, loses the battle, man, is the fact that households and parenthoods are systems, man, and what we do as parents is we teach our children to maintain themselves within that system.
Because
That's
it's
why we
teaching
have
because it's teaching them to go forth.
right. That's why we have rules and regulations within our households because the world's got rules and regulations. You
Okay, so
know,
when you
and,
speak about, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and you can either beat them over the head with it, or you can massage it into them. I mean, it makes no difference as long as they get it. You know, the teacher, teachers make mistakes, but in half-ass perfect world situations, man, the message is oftentimes conveyed.
Okay, okay. Now, what's your question again? Because I want to make sure I don't want to just because I understand what you said, but I want to make sure that I answer you exactly how I feel about
The question I was asking, man, if you raising your kids to be strong convictions, right, and
it.
you come across a situation where they're wrong, but they're still strong in their convictions, what do you say? What do you convey to them? You know what I'm saying? You get them to look and see that you're not the enemy, but that you're somebody that's giving them sound advice.
You know what it is? My answer to that, which was a great answer, Corey, and great question, Luke. Look, this is how I approach it. Like I approach life. I'm going to like, look, I don't agree with you. Explain to me why you feel you need to do this. Not to
Or
change,
had a mindset.
look, not to change their minds, but to reinforce you making this decision as a grown person. You're making this decision. I need you to tell me why. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because look, I don't need you to be clever and be contradicted towards me because you now you have power. You know what I mean? Because really it's power that I granted, even though you could do whatever the hell you want to do. But if you value my opinion, it's gonna have some sway over how you do it or how you feel when you do it. But my thing is, tell me why. What was the purpose of it? Why are you down this road? Why are you here? And this is good and bad because what I want, because this was done with me, with you two guys, and with our parents. Why are you doing this? What's going on? You feel me? What is the thing that you trying to achieve here? Because I may want to go there. You feel me? I may want to go there because here's the thing with it. Not to belabor it. Here's my thing. The answer is to you. I said it earlier. I'm going to ask. Tell me. Articulate it. If I don't understand what you're saying, I'm gonna say to you, I don't understand. Could you give me more? You see what I'm saying? So if my sons or daughter gave me more and I still didn't understand, you know what I would do? I still don't understand, but I respect what you're saying because they took the time to explain to me. You know what I mean? Because what we do, what do we do? We when we in our own house, we the alphas. If that's our personality, we the alphas. When it comes to our kids, right? Even if we spoil our kids, we're still the alpha. Our word is our fucking bond. Period. Right? And we want our kids to at least acknowledge our word, right? But then when we want them to acknowledge it, the ego comes in. Like, yo, well, hold on.
Okay.
So this is why I stop and just ask the question. Yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Explain this to me. This is why I want you to explain it to me because I'm in your corner. I want you to do well. I don't want to tear your shit down. You know what I'm saying? Why? I raised you. I raised you to look, and I hate this term, but it is what it is. I raised you to be better than me. But really, what it should be is I raised you to achieve more. That's not being better, it's achieving more. Now, before anybody say anything, let's address this is my Keith Jr. right here. He said, if you learn, if you learned an adult learning experience lesson as a child, then as kids, when do you teach the lesson? No, then have kids. When do you?
If you learn a lesson, all right. Hmm. If you
Yeah.
learn a,
Hey, Keith, you're gonna have to at least straighten it up a little bit because I thought, well, damn, am I drunk?
Here is the thing, man. Here is the thing.
We look, we waiting on your response, Keith. Well, go ahead, Danny.
Here is the thing, man. I understand. Like Corey spoke about teaching your kids how to uh, function within the system. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that, but only to this degree, man. You teach your kids how to learn how to function within the system in terms of their safety, but who they are as individuals.
Good
You
point.
teach
Good point.
you teach them how to express themselves and find who they trying to be, and you know, and then take on that challenge of trying to be the best that it can be.
Hold on, Fluke. No, look at what you sent us, my guy. Go ahead, Fluke.
I know. Hey. Anyway, yes, you know, especially as black men. Let me address that for a minute. As black men, we have to learn within the system because the system is there. There are things in the system that is against us. You know what I'm saying? And you have to learn how to function within that system. Yes, for your safety, but for your ideas and your brilliance and who you're trying to be as the best human being that you're trying to be. And that's something you have to. I think that's separate, man. You have to teach them how to explore themselves and their ideas. You know what I'm saying? If you raise a child up to the point where they finna go into college and you ask them what is uh what is your major, what you going into? You know what I'm saying? They might tell you robotics or whatever. But knowing them, you ask them, is that what you really want to do? Is that what you got? No, I'm just doing it for the money. Okay, so you're about to hustle. Yeah, I'm about to hustle. I'm about the money. But yeah, but is that your personality? Is that who you really are? You might be a writer. You know what I'm saying? You might be something that expresses who you are individually as a person. That has absolutely nothing to do with the system. It has everything to do
It's
with
got
your
it's got
individual self.
it's got everything to do with the system, Fluky or Damon, because no matter what they get into, it's always going to be a system. Doesn't matter if you're in total disagreement with it. If they want if your child wanted to go to school to be a freaking juggler, man, and you had total disagreements with it, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to have to learn that way of life through a system. And if you don't teach, if if you don't teach discipline, compliance, uh, pursuit of individual goals in the home, then they will not be successful. Period.
Okay, but what if they pass and
Systems are
fail?
systems are not a bad thing. Then God bless them. As
But,
long as
but
as long as they're passing and failing on their feet, I don't give a shit.
well, here's my point. Here's my point. They can pass and fail on their feet, man, but failing can be devastating, bro. Especially when it has something
It's
to do with.
supposed to
Well,
be.
but
It's supposed to
it
be.
depends on no look. Devastating. I'm not sure, brother. I feel what you're saying when you say that, but failure usually forms diamonds. To be honest with you,
Based on what?
because when you fail,
Based
Is
on the
it?
feeling.
But is it
when
based?
you
Is it?
But
Is
no
it
no no
based
no
on the
let me
system or is it based on the
no no
individual
let me answer this.
experience?
It no, they go hand in hand, don't you think, bro? To be honest with you, because
very much.
the system and your experience, like your experience with the system makes you do what? Like, you know what? All right, two instances. You know what? This system is fucked up because it's not fair. Let me conquer it and then go in and change it. Or, you know what? This system, I need to conquer it because I want to succeed in it. It's a motivational tool, the system. You
Based
see
on
what I'm saying?
what? Based on their own personal
Based on
But no, no,
individuality.
based on how the world
the
works,
pathway
man.
where you
Based on
want to
how the
go.
world works.
So how
It
they feel. So how they feel as an individual doesn't matter.
no, no, it does matter because
Long as they work within the system.
no, no, no. Hold on.
You're
Good
not.
point,
You're
Dan.
not. You're not. You're not.
Good
I don't
point.
think you've
But
heard
you
me. I
did
don't think you've
say
heard me at all,
it
man.
matters. It matters because who they are determines how well they succeed in the system. You see what I'm saying? Because the
Yeah, I'm
system,
not supporting.
if it's a place that you're trying to, you want to be there. You talk about a system, you want to be a part of the system. Now, I'm
Well,
not
here's
talking
here,
about human. I'm not talking about humankind. No, no. Hey, Flu, let me finish this and let Jaquari say what he's gonna say. I'm not talking about humankind, existence, system. I'm talking about making money, trying to evolve into something that you think you want to be. That's what I'm talking about when I say system. I'm not talking about what's what's tearing you down and putting you in a position and this, that, and that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is you're trying to perfect whatever craft that you want to be about. You feel what I'm saying? That's all. Go ahead, Jaquari, then you, Damon.
Yeah, I'm not. My meaning was I'm not. I'm not supporting any kind of group think or drone mentality or anything like that. I'm saying it's the individual's got to take what they have into the system. That's my point. Everything is a system. Everything is a system. No matter how much disdain we might have for systems, everything works in a system, in a systematic order. It does. That's just a simple fact. And I'm not, and I'm by far not a mathematical thinker at all, man. I'm no good at math, man, but I do understand structure. I do understand. I do understand patterns.
Well, let me ask you both this question, man. What does society respect, man? And when I say society, we can substitute system or whatever. But what does
Power.
society what they
My answer is
respect?
power. My answer is power.
What they respect, and this is just my opinion. What they respect mostly is that person who's able to make their life successful through their own individual accomplishments, man. You know what I'm saying? And when that person see them being themselves, who's showing people, this is what I believe and this is what I think. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
too
And that
broad,
person
man.
say that's eccentric. That's
But but
eccentric.
but
But
since you
in that order of people thinking that they're eccentric in their thinking, they revile them with the understanding that they were able to create through their own individual personal personality.
I agree. But the one
That
thing,
has nothing to do with system. That's outside of the system.
but the one thing that you're
That's
not taking,
individuality.
the two things you're not taking into consideration. This is my
I'm
point,
listening.
and there's no right or wrong. Is the human factor and the group factor.
Right.
You
That's
know
what
what
I'm
I'm
talking
saying?
about.
No. But my point is, and we're in the same realm. We're not disagreeing. What the point is we're seeing the same thing. Whereas it's an individualistic thing to be a trailblazer, right? Because people tell you crazy because you think people can walk around with mobile phones back in the fucking 70s. You feel what I'm saying? Right? But then when it comes to fruition where we gotta have these things all the time. And we look at them all the time, 90% of the time, and they giving us cancer of the nuts if we got them in our pockets. But the point I'm trying to make to you is this: it's all subjective, right? It's what you believe. Now, hold
It's
on,
absolutely
oh,
subjective.
hold on. Let me just do this. Terry had a good point, and then my son, uh, he came back in a strong way. So we're gonna go Terry first, okay? And Benita, we saw you, and great damn point, sister-in-law. This is Terry. Every household had a value system. If they violate the family system, do you not continue to support them? You will express your disappointment, but love them. Period. I get that. I understand that. Right now, here's Junior. Junior says, "This is from earlier when we were trying to. There was a couple words missing, so we was trying to link it. But I think he kind of linked what he was saying. He said, if you're a child and had an adult lesson situation that you experienced, when you expect to teach the, when do you expect to teach the child? And how do you actually know when the child is ready to receive the information as a parent? If that child doesn't understand, is it because the parent doesn't properly express the lesson? What starts
Not
with you, boy?
necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, the majority of the lessons that I try to teach my child, you know, while she was growing up, unfortunately, they came from bad experiences. You know, when I seen her going in a certain direction, and I felt compelled to speak on it. You know, and all the things, all the bad things, concerning that situation or similar situation came flooding back to me. I kind of doubled down on the air quotes parenthood. You know, but I don't know if that was the proper thing to do because in some situations I didn't completely convey my point. So like I just said, unfortunately, it was the bad things that made me, really try to get on my horse, man. But the good things, I just tried to enjoy them as much as I possibly could without taking anything away from her experience. I mean, as far as the time to to teach those lessons, I mean, there's no blueprint to it. As we said before, I mean, difficult situations don't have to be occurring for you, to find those teaching moments, man. You know, you parent all the time. You're never done parenting.
Damon.
Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, and this is the point. Let me make sure I'm clarifying myself, man. When you have kids, when your baby's first born, man, the first thing you think about is how to keep them safe, man, and and as they come of age, you try to show them how to navigate life because you experience life as their parent. You do that, but are you doing them a disservice, man? When the only thing that you're preaching to them is about your experience and what it is that you feel,
What
That's
what it
all
is
you
that you
have,
what
bro.
feel.
other aspect can I
That's all
what
you
other
have.
aspect can I speak for? That's all I have. I
Them
mean, you real
personally,
heavy. You
them
real heavy on the
personally.
individual. You're real heavy on the individuality speech now, Fuki. Now, then you say that. But what other perspective can I teach from but
Okay,
my
now
own individual perspective?
okay, allow me to finish. This is the point I'm making. What you do is you come to the realization that there might be, if you come to your child, man, with something that's right, and as we all have been in our teens or whatever, being combative and whatever, or going against just for the sake of just doing that. How do you get their attention, man, if you study talking about what it is that you feel is right and you're not even trying to understand what understanding that they're trying to come into? You see what I'm saying? And that's where you go in and you do as and you do what you have to do to not get them to go against you totally, but to get you to understand where you're coming from, but understand where they're trying to come from too, even though they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then allow them to understand the mistakes that they're making. You know what I'm saying? We could dictate as parents with our children. As parents, we can dictate all day long, man, because we know better, because we have life experiences. But as they go through the experience themselves, you know what I'm saying, they're not robots, man. They have their own opinion about stuff, things that
Of course.
they might hold convictions to, even if they're wrong.
Of course.
How do you get them to understand that? I hear what you're saying, but do you think maybe that if you try it this way, it might make your road that you're traveling easier? You have to convince them to understand that you know what the hell you're talking about. You know
You
what I'm
don't.
saying?
Okay.
With the auspice
Man, if
of
you
with the auspice
if you
of
think
with the auspice of not knocking them down, but saying, well, you know what? I hear what you're saying, and here's a possibility. This possibly might happen to you if you continue to go down that road. But if you allow me to, you know what I'm saying, to offer this suggestion, if you allow me to offer this suggestion, maybe you might see it different in your own thinking. In your own thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because somebody tell me something, I can listen to that and have an opinion about it all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it doesn't, if it doesn't resonate with me, what I'm going through at the time, I'm not going to listen anyway. It's going to go in one ear or the other.
So hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna give you my response to what my son said, and then I'm gonna ask the question after that. First and foremost, basically what you do as a parent is you plant seeds. Now, if you're able to convince your child that what pathway that they on that
But it
they
has to be
get it.
their idea though,
Oh,
man.
oh, hold on. It don't have to be their idea. What it has to do
But
has to do to me. This is my opinion. It has to do with listen first and foremost. You feel this certain way. This is how I feel. So hear me because you are at a point in your life that I've lived. It ain't no right or wrong to this. It is to consider that I've already lived this, then put it into your data bank and process it. That's what I mean by planting the seeds.
yeah, but how do you communicate that to the point where they're not
By
just not
simply
ignoring you?
saying it. If they
Yeah, you
ignore it,
don't. You don't. I
it is
mean,
not my obligation if they ignore it, my guy. That's my point I'm trying to make to you. Your responsibility to your children, to your life, is to do the very best you can. And when it comes to your children, is to verbalize, hey, this is why I feel this way. That's all you need to do. You don't need to change their mind. You know why? Because you'll never change your child's mind unless your child wants their mind changed. But what you can do is plant seeds into their psyche. Like, look, whenever somebody comes along to sow this for you, this is here. If I can't sow it for you, then somebody else will. You feel me? I'm look. The three of us, we are saying the same things. We are no. Let me put it like this: we're not saying the same thing. We're within the same realm. We feel the same thing. That's a better way of putting it. Because what we want the most is our child not to do what we say, but to listen to us because we have something to offer to them. All right.
I
Now,
can respect what y'all saying.
now, let me just do this. I'm not sure who this is. Y'all see it up on the screen, right? And it
Yeah.
might be somebody we know. But basically, what they say is, I believe if you can learn the lesson as a child, depending on the lesson, I believe you should teach a child with proper context, as, assuming it seems necessary for you. No age limit is uh, no age limit teach as it occurs. I'm with that. I feel that. Let us know who you are. I mean, what is fat rat.
Fat
fat,
Rat
fat
66.
rat 66.
Okay, let us know who you are. And then this one, my son, Keith Jr. What is considered a good or bad situation if not having the information at all? It is all wrong to with it is wrong to withhold information. I believe
Is it
that.
wrong to hold it with them?
Is it wrong to hold information? I'm sorry.
But what if you're not in a position where you willing to listen to the information?
But the point is, have we been talking about withholding any information? Because really and
Fathers
truly,
don't withhold it.
no, fathers don't. Fathers are real
Fathers
with
don't
theirs.
withhold. Fathers don't withhold information. The majority of
All right.
fathers that I know do not withhold information.
All right, this is the next one. Damon, read this and tell me, give me your information, then you, Jaquar, what you think about it.
Instead
Instead
of
of being
it,
wrong,
could
could
it
it
just
just
be
be another way that you're not informed of? What do you think?
I think, man, that speaking to what y'all talking about, if you're not willing to listen to advice, you know what I'm saying, or you come to the conclusion that the advice that you're listening to is not informative, then you're not gonna have the knowledge that you need to move forward. You're not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's but this question is that combative in a relationship? You know what I'm saying? Is that the child thinking that they telling me wrong shit anyway, so what's the point of me listening? You know what I'm saying? You have to it has to be a two-way street is my point. And my whole point, what I was speaking of is this. You can tell somebody something all day long, and the only thing you're going to get from that is that combative relationship. Well, you know how it is when you feel like somebody's talking at you instead of talking to you. That exists. That happens. That's very pivotal, man. You have to recognize that that situation is what it is. You could be right totally in your shit, but it's all about coming to an understanding. Okay, I'm not talking about being a friend. It's about giving good information that makes sense to a person. That makes
So
sense to a person.
but we all agreed there was trial and error in the beginning. You
Right.
got to figure
Exactly.
out because your kids are individuals. How you raise your kids
Especially how
has
you raise
nothing to
them.
it has nothing to do with who they become as individuals. Can we agree on that?
Say that again, man, because I want to
How
make
we
sure I'm
raise
not
our
hearing the
how we
contradiction.
no no how we raise our kids has nothing to do with how they what they become as individuals.
But how did they become individuals, man? If they're not
We
looking at
don't know
themselves,
how did you become an individual and think the way that you thought, brother?
because
That's my point.
I had to come to the conclusion that it was pivotal for me to listen because
Exactly. No, I'm
the
talking about
thing
no, no. What I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm talking about you personally as an individual.
that's what I'm
How did
speaking
you
on.
become an individual?
I became an individual based on the things that I thought and my trial and error, my
Exactly.
maturation process.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And in me understanding my trial and error and my maturation process, there was some things that my parents were saying to me that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I didn't come to the conclusion that they were right until I went through the experience, man.
Until you became a grown man. Correct. Right?
Did that stop them from imparting the information?
They gave you the information.
Yeah, but guess what?
They
I'm shut
planted the seed.
off. It depends on how they delivered the information, man.
Bro,
No, it doesn't. No,
this
it
is what
doesn't.
I'm
You know
saying
why
to
it
you.
doesn't
Okay.
matter?
Go ahead.
You know why it doesn't matter how they deliver the information? Is because 9 times out of 10, when that situation happened, they weren't there to say what they said to you before. You remember what they said because they said it.
Yeah, I remember what they said because they said it, but
Plant,
It
planting
didn't
the
matter.
seed. Planting
yeah,
the
It
seed.
did, and at the
Plant the
time,
seed.
and at the time, it didn't matter how much you disagree with it or not. When it happened, you remembered those words.
Planted the
yeah,
seeds.
I remember the words. I remember the words, but I still
But
had to go through my maturation process.
Okay.
I
I
still
don't
had to
see.
go through my process.
Yeah, brother, yes.
I don't see what a
Yes.
fight is, brother. I don't.
We're
I don't
saying
see
the
what a fight
same
is, brother.
thing. That's what we're saying.
No, 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 no.
It's a
No,
it's a
hold
it's
on. He's saying, hold on. Let me get this out. He's saying he had to go through his maturation process. You're saying that he had to understand exactly when the time came what he needed to do and what decision he needed to make. Okay, I mean that's the best way I can put it. Now,
what I said.
hold on for 1 second. The fat rat, that's Keith Barnes, a past guest. All right. Now,
He need to say if he gonna do a name change.
now he's on YouTube. So basically, He says it's on the screen. Children mature at different levels, of course. As parents, you should share your wisdom as needed. When it comes to your mind to share, you probably should share and give the correct understanding.
Here's the thing, man. That I'm trying to convey, man, because we was all raised with the same parents, man. Did our dad, did he or did he not tell us his mistakes that he made
all, all the time.
All the time, yeah.
all the time? So what did he do? He went through his own personal experiences. He went through his own maturation process. Were there people in his life telling him, "Hey, don't do this or don't do that," and he didn't listen? But he learned from his own mistakes, didn't he?
More than
Okay.
likely, yeah.
He had to go through his own things. You name me one person in the history of
But
the
damn it,
world,
damn
man.
it.
But hold on,
When
hold
did
Jakor,
on,
hold
when,
on, Jakor.
when
hold
did
on.
Hold on,
no, no,
Jakor.
no, no, no. When did he do that? Not necessarily when we were in bad situations. He imparted information all the time.
So he made it understood that he wasn't infallible, man.
But 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 see, here's the thing though. This is why I say we're in the same realm because you're not. But I'm not disagreeing with you. It's nothing that you just said had anything to do with it. I said to you that we plant seeds in our children
Right,
to be sold later if we
right.
cannot do it.
Based on what?
Based
The,
on everything, based on your experience, based
and
on who
Based
you
on
are
our
in your
individual
but
experience.
right, their own individual experience.
No,
who's
our own
disagreeing with
individual
you.
experience.
We're I'm look, read me personally. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. We are in the same realm. You know what I'm saying? So understand that we're in the same realm. It's nothing. I'm not disagreeing with you what you said. I'm saying to you is you may be further on in my maturation process. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But let's move on a little bit because I want to throw these comments up here, man, because they're interesting. Now, our guy Eric Harris had a long, lengthy joint. He went into his Google and he did what he had to do. So let me read this to you. He said, "I don't instant. I was a little late, but you, me, myself, and I told my kids if they were growing up, everything I have, I'm gonna leave it up there, man, because I'm not gonna read this
God
out
damn.
loud. What happens in
Everything I
my
have
house?
done it
Go
happens
ahead,
in
yeah.
my
Go
house.
ahead, Jabbar.
See, everything I have done, good and bad, what happens in my house or my life stays in our house. But what I've done here, it is yeah, that was pretty, Eric. What's the next one, King?
He basically saying he laid down the law.
We know what he's saying.
He laid down the law. This is how he his household was, but the decisions that they made was the decisions that they had to live with.
Yeah.
It's basically, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 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 no. That's real.
That
That's
sounds
real.
that sounds right.
This whole situation. Now I'm just messing with Eric because hey, look. First and
Mm.
foremost, this is forever, man. So you get your grammar situation right, my guy. I mean, um, this is KJ. You know, KJ.
What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir.
Salute, brother.
Friend of the show. You know, and he's gonna be back on in 2003. All right, we look, we're doing some housekeeping right now. Here's Junior again. So could experience come to children that a parent did not have to go through right? So when does the median come of understanding and the parent learning from the child?
Hmm.
Look. let me just say this. This is my assumption when it comes to my son. He has went the opposite of my advice, but he has not realized that he has actually gone along with my advice. Sometimes our children are contrary. That's not a bad thing because I taught my son to be an individual. You understand what I'm saying? I taught my son to be an individual, make his own decision. Eric, you're a fool. No, I taught him to be an individual. Whatever decision he makes is not right or wrong. But I will give my opinion to him. I will tell him if I disagree. That's a parent's job. Matter of fact, that is your best friend's job to tell you honestly that you disagree with the move that you made if you don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? And it is seldom,
Mhm.
to be honest with you, it is seldom that I disagree with any move that my son made. But I also gave my opinion because he went his independent way to do what I taught him to do was achieve his own. Period. He has gone into business for himself. He has a partner, but he's gone into business for himself. I've always preached that to him. If you are able to do something that you love and you have the ability to make it happen, to do so. But I'll always tell you how I feel about it because you know why? I owe that to you. I owe it to you. All right, this is Keith Barnes. With young people, it's good to it's good to clarify. We're giving guidance and correction to their benefit. If they hearing right or wrong, some will miss the message given, feeling it's chastisement. Well, let me ask you a question, Keith. Is it our fault that they feel that they're being chastised, or is it them and their pride?
You got we really got to take into consideration the fact, man, that when we're trying to impart information and advice to our children, man, they've never gone through this. So for
Yep.
them to have for them to make a decision on whether our advice or guidance is right or wrong is just totally ridiculous.
Is
That's how I looked at it.
and
It's ridiculous. You have no real life experience in this situation. I do. So here's some options. Okay, one of the biggest lessons I learned as a parent, man, was the fact that she's not going to listen to me today. She's not going to listen to me today, man. So what am I going to do as a father, man? I'm going to stay diligent. That's what it is. It's diligence. You know, not
yeah,
only not only do we secure our homes, protect our homes, man. We provide diligence in our homes. We provide, uh, the nature to impart information. That's where they get it from. All our children are smart as whips, man. Smart as whips, informationally, practically, uh, 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 with common sense. That came from somewhere, man. That came from somewhere. It came from us. It came from their mothers. It came, Keith. It came from the interactions that we had with our nieces and nephews,
yeah.
and vice versa. We've all parented. We've all parented, man. I mean, I don't see myself as in regards to parenting. I don't really see myself as a stiff obelisk, man. I'm not there. Just in the path to only and solely to provide structure. You know, I sway with it. I move with it. I tried to give her what I thought she needed at the time, you know, and did she always listen? No, of course not. You know, were there times where I was left in the dark? Yeah, yes, there were. You know, but I thank God that I didn't take those times personally. It's just being a stepfather. You know, that's what I had to put myself on the outside of. You know, it is what it is. You
No doubt.
know,
Look. The bottom line is, I don't want anybody watching this live or in the future to think that we're disagreeing with each other. We are just on different levels of this situation, different chapters of it. This is how I feel personally. You know what I mean? Now, my brothers might feel differently, but this is how I feel personally. You know what I mean? And, you know, my thing is, let me adjust this. Eric was saying he was talking into the machine, and the machine was giving them the wrong the wrong typing dictation. It is what it is. We got you, brother. We with you. I'm gonna put this up here because Keith is tearing this situation up. He feels it's their fault if they preconceived expectations of the parents' reaction. I feel that.
but that's what they're going to do. Just as like I just said, man. From an outside perspective, as a parent, if I don't realize that my child has made a decision that I'm wrong with no real world experience,
Yeah,
and I take that personally, I have no business talking to my child, about anything of importance.
that's real.
And listen, it's their fault because they have a preconceived expectation of the parents' reaction. That's childhood. It's a child's
Right.
job to it's a child's job to second guess their parent.
Oh yeah.
That's where the teaching comes in.
Look, I tell people all the time. My dad was my hero. Our dad, our father was my hero. But the thing about it is, he was an actual hero because I saw all his flaws. Because he never hid them fuckers from us. He never hid them from us. So I saw him as somebody that I loved and I looked up to. But he was no unachievable height because he didn't want us to see him that way. That's
But
how I felt.
but he had a good balance though.
He did.
His balance was he was to tell us how to be men and what to do, but in doing that, it's okay to be human and make mistakes.
That's real. That's real.
Was the whole point I was making.
Yeah, no, no. And the thing about it is, that's why I kept emphasizing. We did not disagree with you. It was none of this. This whole hour and a half. The three of us
Damn,
did not.
it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't even seem that long, man.
We pretty much gave our version of the same thing. That's how I feel. Now, in the next 10 minutes or so, because we'll take this up in the next episode. But my thing is, tell us. We'll start with you, Damon. Then we'll go to you, Quarry. Tell us what you feel your expectation of Strong Perspective podcast. And it don't have to be that deep.
We
Where do
talked
you
about this.
personally feel we should where we should be taking this in our second year of this situation?
You know what's important to me, man. Real talk. When we talk about this particular episode, man, we have our disagreements with each other. You know what I'm saying? And we grew up in the same household. You know what I'm saying? That speaks to people's individuality, man. That's what it is. And in that, man, in our individuality, we can come to the same place. We can come to the same place. Come with the same ideas. We just travel different roads to get there. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing I want people to understand about this particular podcast is this, man. We men, we live our lives, we do the best we can, and I think that all three of us are successful in living our life. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about the world as a whole, man, it's all about disagreements. We, as three brothers, we can talk about our disagreements and still respect each other in this, in the same vein. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it doesn't make sense to me why the world can't do the same thing, man. Unless, we caught up in that tribalism and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if we could speak as men and talk about our differences and then basically 75 to 80% of the time come to the same conclusion, what difference does it matter, man? The road you travel, as long as you came to an understanding that you have to be a better human being, that you have to be your better self. No, nobody else's, but your own better self. You know what I'm saying? And coexist in the society that we live in. Because, like you said before, Jacory, it is about a system. But in that system, you can be an individual too. You know what I'm saying? You can be an individual too. And what is life, man? You got cats, man, back in the ancient times, man, that went and destroyed countries, communities, to feel like they mattered on this earth, to leave a legacy. Isn't that what we all trying to do? As long as we come to the conclusion that we can respect each other on that level, man, then we can respect each other. You know what I'm saying? We can respect each other because it's all about respect. Everybody wants to be a man. Everybody wants to be a woman. Everybody wants their life to matter, to mean something. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't coincide with everybody else. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree, but if you can you have a conversation with another man or woman that you respect, and you say, I get it. I don't agree, but I get it. What's you know what I'm saying? That's simple shit right there. That's simple. And it's not convoluted. It's just about respecting each other. Because what's God's biggest miracle? I said it 1,000 times before. Biggest miracle is He made 8 billion people on this planet, and we are not exactly the same. We are not exactly the same. And we all have purpose.
No doubt. Jacory,
Ask the question one more time, man.
what's your expectation, bro, of
Uh,
this podcast?
Expectations of this podcast, man. It's simple enough, man. I mean, uh, just growth, just whatever particular message I have to send on whatever particular Friday, man. Just being uh agile enough and and present enough to express it. You know, developing our platform, man. Trying to broaden our fan base. That's something I've decided that's important to me now. You know, getting our perspective out to other people. You know, maybe some more relevant pursuits. I don't well, they were all relevant pursuits. All our past shows were all relevant. Don't get me wrong, but just stuff having to do more with today's topics. I've always said in our personal conversations that I would that's not something that's held a lot of interest for me. because as far as doing research and and being up on current events and all that, I've never been that person. I've never been a consistent watcher of the news to see what's going on in the world. So that's my shortcoming as far as relevant conversation. But I want to try to step that up a little bit. That and becoming more savvy at the process. Just get more reps under my belt, get more reps under our belt.
Sound
Thinking
muffled, bro.
about
I can't hear you, man.
Couldn't hear you. What you say?
just getting getting
Okay.
getting getting reps under our belt.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And we've been doing that, doing a pretty good job of that. Just appreciating the experience, man. And that's just about it in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, me personally, and I'm about to get selfish with this, and really and truly, I really don't care. First and foremost, since we started this thing, what we've done was we gave relevant conversation to people, whoever you are, whether you're friend, whether you just acquaintances, or you family. We giving you relevant conversation about trying to promote what we do. We're bringing. Listen, conversation has not disappeared. It's not died. What it's done has been masked through sensationalism. Period. So my thing is, I challenge the three of us. I challenge everyone who listens to this today and tomorrow to reach out to the people that you know. Go to our channel and subscribe to it. You know why? Not because I want to make money, I want to be famous, I want to be anything else. The point is, it's relevant conversation. Do you not understand what it is? It's relevant conversation. It don't have to be too deep. It don't have to anything to do with us being the original indigenous people to this continent. It don't have anything to do with, the Middle Passage. It has nothing to do with what we do with each other as people in this modern day. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with, which is the key to everything I just named. It has something to do with having conversation with each other without with to respectfully disagree and to keep going, to take in the information, to absorb the information and make it a part of who you are. Now, you may be kings and queens of your world, your everyday work life, your home life, the whole nine, right? But do you ever think about how much that means to you when it's connected to the entire community? Because the entire community is being dictated to you through what we're on now, social media. All you have ever heard for us for the last past year is positive vibes on who we are and how we are, the people that we are, the human beings that we are. Flawed, flawed human beings, but great human beings. Great in our situations, great in our life. This is what I believe in. This is what I've always believed in. I've never strayed from this. Every human being that's ever met me in my life, they understood that my back has been straight. My back has always been straight, looking into each of your individual eyes and helping you to understand where I was coming from and you understanding that I knew where you were coming from. The saddest thing to me is the simple fact that we rely as a community. This is not an indictment on our community, but this is my observations, partial observation of our community. If we rely on hurt people, hurt people's interpretation of what they see. It's a steady diet of it. It's a steady diet of what the hell is going on. Where we will criticize, we will do all kinds of things other than the right thing. Get the information first. Don't sensationalize it. I am the moderator of this podcast, so I don't speak a lot. Only on things that I think is important. My brothers, they carry the podcast. Our guests carry the podcast. But I want to talk about where we're going as a podcast, the three of us. I challenge us and everyone that sees this, go subscribe to our shit. You want to know why? Because I want as many people as possible to see the interaction that we have with our guests and with each other. Because we don't agree, but we find a common ground. We find a common ground. This is my own personal opinion when I say this. Our community lacks common ground. We look for a reason to disagree with somebody. And once we disagree with them, that is enough reason to not work with them. Of course, it's exaggerated what I just said, but is there some truth to it? This platform that we're on right now is very important. Am I telling you it's going to blow up? I don't give a fuck whether it blows up. But the information that the three of us and our guests, whoever we have on, give is going to be relevant forever. That's all I have to say. Damon, take us out. Even though Damon says my speak on the strong went from 5 minutes to 2 minutes to 1 minute.
It did.
Bitching. I don't need you to do that.
I wasn't bitching.
Just speak on it though.
It was just the
Do your
truth.
thing. Just
He,
do
he
your
was
thing.
Here was my thing, man. Everything that was talked about tonight, man, is just my opinion, man. If it doesn't jive with what everybody else is thinking, it's okay. It's okay with me. Only thing I can do is speak my truth, and I speak it humbly. Because I don't know everybody's experience, man. I don't know. The only thing I'm sure of is how I think in terms of my humility, man. That's what I know. So I speak my experience. I talk about what it is I've been through in my life. It doesn't mean that what anybody else is saying is wrong. That's just my shit. Excuse my language. It's just my thing. And I'm not going to deviate from that. I'm only going to speak about me. I respect what everybody else is saying because that is their experience. The only thing I can do is be honest with myself. I know when I'm being arrogant. I know when I'm being arrogant. You know what I'm saying? And moving forward, I had to be humble in that. If there are some people who are willing to listen to a brother, I have no axe to grind. I have none of that, man. The only thing I have, man, is me as a 57-year-old man speaking his truth. And that's it. I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't mean to do any of that. My only purpose at this point in my life is to say what it is that I'm thinking and not contradict myself when I'm speaking to my humility. It's not to contradict myself. It just is what it is. And I respect everybody else's opinion because that's their thing. That's their experience. That's their maturation process. It's just what it is. And it took me a while to understand that. Everybody want to be heard, man. But who do you listen to? You listen to that person that speaks about their mistakes. You listen to that person who says, you know what? I'm trying to be better in spite of who I was. You understand? And what that says is that that person is talking about themselves, nobody else. I'm not speaking on no other man but me. Because when it's all said and done, there's people that's actually listening to me is gonna say, he only spoke about himself. He only puts forward his insecurities and his idiosyncrasies and shit. And he tried to speak on it and make it better. Not for anybody else but himself. I can't convince anybody to believe that I'm a changed or different person. I can't convince anybody of that. You have to come to that conclusion on your own. But it's not my job to do that. My job is to be honest with you and talk about what it is that I'm working on, who I'm trying to be. And if I don't convince you through my actions and how I'm trying to live my life, maybe you're not supposed to see it. But I'm just being honest with myself. And I can live with that all day long. I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? And die with it. I'm not out to argue with anybody. Not when it comes to me. I'm critiquing myself. I'm talking about my own shortcomings and weaknesses and idiosyncrasies and shit. That's what I'm doing. I'm not talking about yours. I'm talking about myself, my own stuff. And you can have an opinion about it. That's fine and good. But when do I have time to worry about somebody who is trying to put me down or have an opinion when I'm looking and seeing where I need to make changes and be better? Your shit don't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is the people that love me and say, dude, you was kind of jacked up on that situation. How? And they explain it to me and be like, okay, I can see that. And then I rectify the situation. Because for me, it's all love, man. I want people to love me not because they think I'm this dude who on this ego trip. I want people to see me as a human being, man, who's trying to be a better person. And that's it for me. Anything else don't matter. Like Tupac said, only God can judge me now.
All right. Well, look, real quick. Last question. Junior needs to have this answered. I'm gonna let you guys address it. This he said, how important is visual learning when you guys have kids, and what changed as you guys got older? Because visual learning comes first, right? Real quick, talk to me, Damon.
Everything is visual nowadays, man. But it's superficial.
But you got to read. You got to read instructions too, right?
Yeah. Everything is visual, man. That's just how the world that we live in. It's gonna get back to the character, the person, the actions.
Okay.
But when you read everything visual, that's your opinion about that person.
Everything reinforces each other, right? In your opinion?
In my opinion, man, visual, man. Hell, you could dress it. You can dress it, and 50. That's 50% of this shit, and not even speak a word, dog.
No doubt.
And not even speak a word. The other 50% of it is about your character, man, and what you say, and what comes out of your mouth, and how you live your life. That's the other 50% of it.
Okay.
And
Well,
you can be challenged on that shit, man. If it don't coincide with how you trying to live your life.
okay. Jaqari, what do you think?
I've always,
Man, go ahead, go ahead, spoke.
I've always. Go ahead, man.
I can't hear you, man.
You muffled a little bit, bro. Are you plugged in?
Yeah, I've always chosen to model the behavior, man.
Okay.
I mean, saying what your intentions are, and then following through physically with those intentions is the best teacher.
Gotcha. I mean, me personally, and me and Keith Jr. has always been round about this. I've never told him that I disagreed with him because he's a visual learner. So when visual learners, what they do is they go straight in. They don't read instructions. They figure it out on their own, right? Me personally, it's always good to grab on to every form of instruction, even if you're a visual learner. That's how I feel about it. I ain't gonna get too deep in it. That's just how I feel. All right, well look, this is year two of Strong Perspective Podcast, number one episode of 2023. Hell of an episode, my guys. Always a pleasure being with y'all. Looking forward to the rest of the year. I challenge you guys and myself, and I challenge everybody that looks at this episode, build us up, spread the word, because we're about conversations, real conversation. It ain't no adversarial shit unless it needs to be. And if you watched us for a year, it's never been adversarial because we work it out. Brothers, always a pleasure. Damon, Jaquari, you know, enjoy your week, enjoy your weekend. Great damn show. Last words, you two.
Who is that? Who is actually speaks louder than words? Who is that, man?
That's Jaquari's friend from high school.
Damon.
Okay, I just want to know who it was.
Okay. Last words, baby. Let's take it on out of here. 2023.
I think we hitting our stride, man.
No doubt.
Peace.
No doubt. All right, baby. Your boy. That's a flashback for you spoke.
Yeah. Smoking
Yes.
black right now.
Yeah.
Spook, I can't hear nothing you saying, man.
All right. Well, look, we're going to take it up out of here. Y'all stay on. We in this live. This is a Strong Perspective Podcast. We promote conversation for everyday people, everyday lives, because everyday people is what makes this world go around. Whether or not you speak Spanish, Chinese, Swahili, Congolese, whatever you speak, everyday people make this thing go. I'm talking about this world, people. This Strong Perspective Podcast. We'll see y'all Friday, baby boy. Let's go.